Welcome back to my channel. Today I will talk about a hero who is causing a storm in DC, Dark Legion Swamp Thing. The arrival of Swamp Thing on global servers has sparked a lot of controversy. Many players already had plans to recruit the hero Riddler, but a last-minute change announcement disrupted their resource planning. This leads to a big question. Is Swamp Thing really worth changing all your calculations for, or is this hero just a reluctant replacement? My answer is not at all. Swamp Thing is not just a normal addition. This hero is a true game breaker and the most important strategic piece that the Justice League Dark lineup needs right now. Many experts are even evaluating that Swamp Thing is the perfect upgrade, and in some cases, an even better replacement for Wonder Woman in Justice League Dark lineups at high level play. In this video, I will prove why
There are
that
many
statement is true.
disruptions
I
in
will
the
talk about
universe,
Swamp Thing's unique
which should
skill
be
set,
my
especially
focus.
his nearly absolute energy control ability, a factor that is shaking every PvP and Meta Brawl match. Besides that, I will clarify whether the Legacy Antler Crown equipment is necessary for this hero to reach his full potential. Finally, I will give a comprehensive evaluation of whether you are a free-to-play player or a spending player, should go all in on Swamp Thing or not. Let's get started right now. Will go straight to the most important factor behind Swamp Thing's shocking power, which is his energy reduction ability. This is a mechanic that every player in DC Dark Legion must pay close attention to, because it delivers a heavy blow to any lineup that relies on speed to gain an early advantage. Specifically, I am talking about this hero's passive skill. At the start of the battle, Swamp Thing can reduce up to 35% of the current energy of all enemies. I must emphasize that this 35% energy value is not small at all. High-speed lineups, especially Legion of Doom with heroes like Lex Luthor, often rely on acting first or using their ultimate skills in the very first turn to create an overwhelming advantage. But with Swamp Thing, this 35% energy reduction immediately causes all of the opponent's speed plans to collapse. This creates enough valuable time for your core heroes, especially Constantine in the Justice League Dark lineup, to deploy damaging ultimate skills, Dr. Fate to activate protective shields, or Raven to heal the entire team before the enemy can react. And it does not stop there. This hero's first basic skill, Vine Lash, also continues to apply a
There are
20%
many
energy reduction
disruptions in the
effect on the
universe,
target throughout the battle.
which should be my
When these
focus.
two skills are combined, Swamp Thing not only slows the opponent at a critical moment, but also maintains that pressure continuously. This is a top-tier mechanic that transforms Swamp Thing from a simple warrior into an extremely annoying and dangerous meta control hero. After hearing about Swamp Thing's terrifying energy control ability, many of you are probably very eager to recruit this hero. However, I must give a warning, this ultimate power comes at a not cheap price. The factor that makes Swamp Thing a true gatekeeper is his almost absolute dependence on his exclusive legacy equipment, Antler Crown. This is not just a cosmetic item. It grants the exclusive skill Green Knight, and this is the key that turns Swamp Thing into an S-tier hero. When the Green Knight skill is activated, it applies the Nature's Curse effect to all enemies at the start of the battle, reducing their attack and critical rate. I need to emphasize that reducing these two stats is extremely important. It makes your entire Justice League Dark team much more durable, especially when facing heroes that deal burst damage or heroes that rely heavily on critical hits, specifically Nightwing and the Bat family. Antler Crown elevates your team's survivability to a whole new level. And here's the painful reality. If you do not have Antler Crown, your Swamp Thing will only be a B-tier frontline hero. This equipment is mandatory to fully unlock his control and defensive potential. Based on calculations, to make Antler Crown reach an effective level, usually 5 white stars, you need to invest at least 400 Magic Eye. This is a very large resource investment, especially for free-to-play players. Therefore, my advice for those of you who are not whales is this. If you have already invested in Constantine, prioritize his legacy equipment first. Once Constantine is stable, Antler Crown for Swamp Thing should be your next top priority. Do not try to use Swamp Thing in harsh Meta Brawl matches if you do not yet have this legacy equipment. Now that we understand the secret behind Swamp Thing's energy reduction and the necessity of the legacy equipment Antler Crown, I will talk about how Swamp Thing completely transforms the Justice League Dark lineup. First, let's talk about tag synergy. Swamp Thing carries the Justice League Dark tag, and this is a perfect addition. When paired with other Justice League Dark allies, this hero activates enhanced synergy that increases spiritual amp for the entire team. With his frontline warrior role, Swamp Thing not only absorbs damage, but also significantly boosts the spiritual damage output of other team members, such as Constantine and Zatanna. Next is the optimal lineup for Meta Brawl. The arrival of Swamp Thing solves the biggest problems of Justice League Dark: resistance to burst damage and the disadvantage in passive speed compared to opponents. The strongest lineup I currently recommend is the combination of Constantine, Swamp Thing, Zatanna, or another spiritual damage dealer such as Sinestro, for example, and Dr. Fate, or a flexible defensive or support hero. The strategy works as follows. Swamp Thing acts first. Swamp Thing's 35% energy reduction forces all enemy lineups to slow down their pace. Constantine. Because the enemy is slowed, Constantine has enough time to activate his ultimate skill, dealing extremely high damage to opponents. Swamp Thing's third skill, Swamp Surge, will summon a Swamp Zone. If there are at least 3 Justice League Dark allies, this effect is doubled, significantly reducing incoming damage for teammates, especially fragile backline heroes, which helps Constantine survive extremely well. Swamp Thing is the missing link that turns Justice League Dark from a strong lineup into a meta-dominating lineup. This hero not only fixes the defensive weakness of Justice League Dark, but also applies massive pressure on speed-reliant opponents such as Legion of Doom, and even makes the team no longer afraid of assassins like before. I personally invested too much into Nightwing, and that might have been a mistake, because Swamp Thing now appears very frequently on my server and causes me to lose matches repeatedly. Finally, Swamp Thing is also extremely strong in player versus environment content, especially in Forest of the Fallen in the training simulator, thanks to his abundant spiritual damage and energy reduction effects that help control high-level enemy waves. In short, Swamp Thing delivers massive value across all battle modes. After analyzing in detail the breakthrough skill set and strategic role of the hero Swamp Thing, I will summarize the key points and give my final advice. I believe there are 3 most important reasons why you must recruit this hero. The first reason is his ability to proactively control the meta with energy reduction effects that deserve a place in my upcoming S+ tier list. Reducing 35% energy of the entire enemy team at the start of the battle is an invaluable advantage because it changes the tempo of the fight and is the strongest counter tool against speed-based lineups. The second reason is that this hero is a perfect upgrade for the Justice League Dark tank position, because Swamp Thing provides durability, team-wide damage reduction, and enhanced spiritual synergy, far surpassing other Justice League Dark Warrior options. The final reason, but no less important, is the massive defensive advantage this hero brings, especially when equipped with the legacy equipment Antler Crown, with its ability to instantly reduce enemy attack and critical rate, making your entire Justice League Dark team much more stable. However, I must also restate this hero's only weakness, which is his heavy resource investment requirement, specifically the legacy equipment Antler Crown, and Swamp Thing himself also needs a large number of stars to reach true meta dominance. It may require 5 blue stars if your opponents are still weak, otherwise you will need purple or gold stars to be able to withstand incoming damage. Therefore, this is my decisive advice for each type of player. For spending players, my advice is very clear. Recruit Swamp Thing immediately, and prioritize upgrading Antler Crown. This hero is the key factor that brings your Justice League Dark lineup to the top of Meta Brawl, and I believe you will regret not having him in your core team. For free-to-play players or low-spending players, you need to consider carefully. Swamp Thing is a major investment, but if your goal is simply to make player versus player content a bit easier and to clear high-level training simulator challenges, then this hero is still a worthy target for you to start saving resources from now on. I recommend making sure Constantine is stable before committing resources to Swamp Thing and Antler Crown. In conclusion, Swamp Thing is a breakthrough hero, a true game-changing addition to DC Dark Legion. The arrival of this hero has turned Justice League Dark into the most worthwhile lineup to invest in right now. And that is everything I want to say about Swamp Thing. I have proven why this hero is the meta breaker that you cannot ignore. Now I have a question for you. Do you think Swamp Thing will be nerfed by the game publisher in the future because his energy reduction ability is too overpowering? Are you ready for your Justice League Dark lineup to rise to the top? Leave a comment below and let me know what your Justice League Dark lineup looks like after adding Swamp Thing. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss my most detailed and earliest meta-analyses. See you in the next video.
The spell.
My fate is survival.